Hello everyone, my name is Phil and welcome to Phil Does 3D. I'm a multimedia and 3D artist and I stream live on Twitch on Mondays and Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Pacific time in the United States, which is 11 a.m. if you're in Australia or midnight I think if you're in the UK at the moment. Remember, if you miss the live streams, you can catch up at any time and watch the streams by clicking the videos tab on my Twitch page. I hope you guys and girls are well. Hellforge, it's good to see you, buddy. Good morning, everybody. Coffee time? Yes, it's always coffee time. Always a good excuse for coffee. I do love the coffee. We're going to continue working on the House in the Hollow game, which you can wishlist right now if you click that link that Hellforge has just popped into Twitch chat. Remember too, if you want to join the Phil Does 3D Discord server, click the link in Twitch chat. That'll give you an invite to join the Discord server where you can show up your work in the gallery and just generally chat about 3D. Okay, Android Lost, it's good to see you as well. Good morning to everybody who is not American and Australian and wherever you are in the world. So yes, we're working on the House in the Hollow game. We're working on the attic for that game. We are going to finish that attic today. Guaranteed today. We don't have a lot left to do. We've just got to do some reflection captures. We've got to do some particle effects for dust. And I've got to fix those collision problems we were having on the frames and on the cans on the ground. So, Andrew Dust says, did you see the news about Cyberpunk? I did, and I'm gutted, but look, it's all good. Cyberpunk, for anyone that doesn't know, has been delayed yet again. It's due to be released, I think, on the 10th of December now. It was supposed to come out on the 19th of November, but they've pushed it back by 3 weeks to the 10th of December. Oh well, just means a better game in the end. But I want to play it now. Hellforge says, guaranteed kitchen next week. No, and you're going to get a slap for that. I haven't handed out a Phil slap for a while, so you get one right now. The kitchen will be last. Once we finish the attic, we're going to be moving down to the sitting room. Once we finish the sitting room, we're probably going to move down to the basement. And once we finish the basement, the only room left in the house is going to be the kitchen. So I'm going to make you all wait till the very end because you're giving me so much shit about the kitchen. Android Love says, I'm okay. Yeah, look, I'm okay with it too. These things happen. Games development is really a tricky thing to get done on time because there's just so many unexpected things that can happen to get a game up and running properly, to squash all those bugs. And a game like Cyberpunk, which is huge, like a huge open world game, there are so many interactions with different things that they've got to test and debug that it's a nightmare. So I'm cool with it. It's fine. I mean, I hope they don't delay it again, just simply past December 10, that is. Simply for their sales, because they want to hit that Christmas period, and if they delay it past Christmas, the publishers are not going to be happy, let me tell you that now. But I'm all for CD Projekt Red. They make great games, so, you know, if they need more time, then take more time to get it right. Bugger the publishers, I say. Bugger them. Hellforge says, worth it, okay. Android Lost says, kitchen goes in the basement. No, it does not go in the basement. Hellforge says, I was pushing my luck. You were this close to a Phil slap yesterday, so you got one right off the bat this morning. There will be no kitchen in the basement. The kitchen has its own room, but it will be last. It will be the very last thing I do. Like I've said to you guys, I'm having a bit of a problem coming up with the design for the kitchen. It's just a bit of a mental block, which is really weird because I've mentioned it before. When I first started doing 3D work, I started doing kitchen. It was kitchens that I started with. I used to, basically there was a company that I dealt with all the time who made kitchens, and I just did kitchen design for them. Like they gave me a floor plan of the kitchen, and then I would come up with the 3D rendering of it for them so that they could show their clients. So it's really weird that I'm having a problem with the kitchen, but hey, that was many years ago. I've moved on to a lot of different things since then. So. Anyway, let's jump straight in, shall we? So we're working with the Unreal Engine 4.25.3. That is the version of the engine that we are locked down to with the game studio. Again, I know I sound like a broken record, but it's really important to point out and to repeat for anyone that wants to make a game. Once you get to a certain point in the development of the game, you don't want to keep upgrading your engine, because then you risk breaking stuff, and that's never fun. If you upgrade, I've read on the Unreal forums where people have said, I upgraded my project and it's crashing and I can't go back to the previous version. See, that's the problem. You don't do stuff like that. If you must upgrade your project, if you must, and I recommend you don't once you get into a certain point in production, make sure you're upgrading a copy of your project, because once it's been upgraded to the latest version of the engine, it won't open in the previous versions of the engine. So for God's sake, please people, make a copy of the project folder and open that one up in the new version of the engine and test it before you destroy your old version. Because you cannot open it. Once the project has been opened and saved in the new version of the engine, you cannot load it again in an older version of the engine. So just don't do it. Don't do it. Unreal actually have released in preview release 4, I think they're up to at the moment, version 4.26. But again, preview releases, you should never use them for production builds. Like if you're making a game and you're in production, do not use the preview builds. Only use the release builds, because the preview builds are generally going to be buggy, because that's what they're for. Epic releases them so people can test them to see if anything's going to break. And then Epic will fix those things and release the final build that then you can update to. But yeah, previews, great for messing around, but don't use them in production. Halford says, is it the layout itself or the style of the furniture and that trips you up? It's not so much the layout. I said to you yesterday, the attic was the most difficult as far as the layout went because of the shape of the room. And the kitchen's not like that. The kitchen's pretty much a box. So it's not the layout, it's the style, the design. Yeah, that I'm having a problem with. Yeah, I don't know whether I want to go, because again, the building is like a 1920s Art Nouveau, Art Deco sort of building. So I don't know if I want to go wood or if I want to go stainless steel, or just the design of the kitchen itself, not so much the layout of it. It's giving me a problem. So let's fix the collision problems first, I think. Let's get down to where we're being tripped up here, and we're being tripped up on this frame. So I'm going to open the frame up, and I'm going to pull it in because it's on my second monitor. Android Lost says, I would probably say the same thing with Maya. If you're working on a scene in an older version, keep it in the older version. Max is not too bad. With Max, you can go back 3 versions. So if you do have a problem with the file in the new version of Max, you can save out back 3 versions. So Max is on Max 2021 at the moment. You can save Max 2020 and Max 2019. That's sort of built into the program. So it's a little bit more forgiving, but you're still right. It's still probably a good idea. Just save it as a different revision number if you're upgrading your model in any 3D program, just to be on the safe side, because you never know. Hellforge says, that makes sense. There should be some solid reference pics on the internet. Yeah, no, there are reference pictures, and I've sort of narrowed it down, I think, to 2 different designs that I'm sort of contemplating at the moment. We'll see how we go, but I'll worry about that when we get to the kitchen, which won't be for a little while because we've got 2 other rooms to do first. So Andrew Lost says, once my model blew up, moving from 2018 to 2020, but that could have only been on my end. Look, it's still good advice, Andrew Lost, like you said, just make a revision copy. Don't save over your old version. Just to be on the safe side, because you've seen me, I save out revision 1, revision 2, revision 3. I can get up to like 20, 30 revisions before I finish the model or whatever it is, and then what I do is I delete all the previous ones. So I save out what I call a final version, so model name _ final, and then I can delete all of my revisions. But I don't do that till I'm at the very end and I know everything's working properly. Andrew Loss says, I can't explain what I mean by blowing up, but the model literally exploded. Oh, but it wasn't a huge problem. I've never seen that happen. Model exploding. That's not good. Oh dear. Yeah. Generally, it's a good idea to make sure your graphics drivers stay up to date as well, particularly if you're working with an engine like Unreal, the latest versions of the engine particularly. It's good for productivity though too, like say you use the Adobe suite of software, make sure you're on the latest version of the NVIDIA or AMD graphics drivers. And again, I use the studio drivers, the NVIDIA studio drivers, because they're supposed to be tested a little bit more rigorously and than the game ready drivers. So, and I've not had a problem with them. So, and I'm on the latest version of that, which is 456.71, I believe. Don't quote me, but I think it is. That's the studio version, not the game ready version, because the game ready version have a hotfix update out at the moment, which is a little bit higher. Andrew Love says, I never update drivers, never think to do it. Look, yeah, it's probably a good idea because, I mean, graphics drivers can have security issues, believe it or not. So it's always wise to update your drivers, if for no other reason than to make sure that your machine is nice and secure. Yeah, because every time they update the driver, they generally update security issues. You know how Windows do their updates, their cumulative updates for security stuff? Graphics drivers are exactly the same nowadays. So for no other reason than to keep your machine safe, you probably should update your drivers. And they improve the performance of the software with every new driver update as well. So whether it's AMD or NVIDIA, every time they update the driver, unless there's some bugs in them, but I've never experienced that. Reading some of the forums, you'd think that it was every second person has a problem with updated drivers, but it's not like that. People don't complain on forums when their drivers work properly. So the small number of people you see complaining, saying this broke my computer, this made my computer catch fire, this driver is terrible, they're a very small minority of people, and generally they have other issues happening with their computer that's causing the issue. It's not the driver. It's something else. It's either the power supply is too old or going faulty, or it can be a myriad of things on a PC. So those people, yeah. Well, I'm sure they are having problems. I'm suggesting it's probably more to do with a problem with their machine than a problem with the driver they're using. I don't want people hating on me saying, well, I've been having problems. How dare you say that I'm lying? I'm not saying you're lying. I'm just saying maybe look at the other parts of your machine to see if there could be an issue. Maybe you've got an old BIOS running, or, it could be anything. Telford says, are you running Windows 10? I am running Windows 10. I most certainly am. I'm running the new version of Windows 10 that was just released, the October update, which is called version, I don't know, what is it? Microsoft 20H2, I think it's called now. So not the 2004 version, but the newer version that Microsoft released about a week ago. I am running that version, and you can tell because all of my tiles here are the same color. They're not the different blue and stuff that you get with the 2004 version. That's one of the things with the new version of Windows. All of your tiles are the same color, apart from Adobe. What a surprise. The Adobe ones are the only ones that aren't behaving properly, but that's Adobe. I have noticed too with Premiere Pro, because I use that to edit my videos, my streams, and then upload them to Twitch. There's a problem with the Adobe introduced what they call GPU video encoding and GPU video decoding. Encoding is working fine, which means it uses my GPU to encode the video, but decoding is not working. And it's obviously a problem with the 14.5 version of Premiere Pro. But anyway, we're not here for Premiere Pro. So Adobe always have problems. Helpboard says, have you had any issues with it? I'm still running Windows 7, but I have 2 upgrades. No issues at all. No, Windows 10 has been fine. The 2004 version, when Microsoft first released it, did have a couple of problems. Nothing game stopping, but things like it would defrag your SSD every time you rebooted the machine, which is not good for the SSD. When they first released it, it had problems where if you have external USB drives plugged in, it was having problems with those. But the new version is fine, and I've not had any versions with this October, the very latest version that I've just updated to. So far anyway, everything's been behaving properly. So, Windows 10's great. Again, people just don't like change sometimes, and people say, I want to stick to Windows 7, which is fine. They're not forcing you to upgrade. If you don't want to upgrade, don't upgrade. But bear in mind, if you don't have Windows 10 and you're running Windows 7, you cannot use DirectX 12. DirectX 12 is a Windows 10 thing only, pretty much. I mean, there's one exception, I think, for World of Warcraft. I don't know why Microsoft made an exception for that one game. But apart from that, if you want to run DirectX 12, you must update to Windows 10. Now, the game we're working on, you see me working on here, will run on DirectX 11, which is Windows 7, as well as DirectX 12. So yeah, it'll basically, the studio is not giving you the option to choose which version of DirectX you're going to run on. But the software should be smart enough, I believe Unreal is smart enough to know that if you run it on Windows 7, it'll use DirectX 11. And if you run it on Windows 10, which is what we recommend, it'll use DirectX 12. So yeah, my advice is upgrade. Upgrade to Windows 10. It's a great operating system, and it's a free upgrade still. I mean, Microsoft don't talk about it, but just between you, me, and the wall, you can still upgrade for free. So if you've got a Windows 7 and it's activated, then you can do an upgrade to Windows 10 completely free. Still, it's free. I mean, it's not supposed to be, but Microsoft have not stopped it because they want people to upgrade. So it's still free to upgrade. You don't spend any money. And it's a good operating system, and you get DirectX 12. It's win-win-win. Android Lost says, no issues with 10 for me either. Yes, no, I've had no issues at all as well. Okay, let's turn collision on here and have a look at what's going on. So you see on these frames, basically, I've just set up 2 lots of collision. And basically, it's only on the frames that sort of stick out a little bit that the player might bump into. There's not one on the back there because that one's leaning up against the wall. So we have a couple of options. We can either remove the collision, but we might try something else before we remove the collision. So instead of removing collision, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to select the object, go into my static mesh. I might just pull this up a little bit. And if I go through my static mesh, and I'll pull it up so it's not hidden behind my music thingy there. There's an option under collision that says, can character step up on? Hopefully you can see that just there. And at the moment it's set to yes. I'm going to switch that to no. Helford says, thanks to both of you. I didn't upgrade when it first came out since I was worried it would break everything, but I keep running into the issue with software that's not running the way it should anymore. Yeah, because everything is being written for Windows 10 now. So you're going to start having more and more problems with software in Windows 7 if we upgrade it, because a lot of stuff... Actually, I don't know. I think the latest versions of Macs, require Windows 10. I don't think you can run the new versions of Macs on Windows. Again, don't quote me, I'm not completely sure, but I thought I read somewhere that Autodesk said you needed Windows 10 now for Macs, for Macs 2021, or the later versions anyway. Alford says, newbie tech question, but how would I go about upgrading to Windows 10 for free? I've never bothered reading the instructions for it before since it wasn't relevant until now. Well, I'll tell you exactly how you do it. I'll show you exactly how you do it. I won't upgrade, obviously, but I'll show you. So if you go to, I'm just going to go to Google. Microsoft Windows 10 update, maybe. So if you go to get Windows 10 update, no, not that one. Somewhere here there is an option. Let me check. Microsoft's website is a real pain to try and navigate. They hide things everywhere. Tools for teachers. They don't make it easy to find anything on Microsoft's website. That's what I'm trying to say. Windows. Let me go back to Google. Let me do a different search. Microsoft Windows 10 October update maybe. It's really easy. Basically, there's a program that you download and then you just run that program from within Windows and it will update your machine for you. It'll keep all your software, all your apps and stuff if you want, or you can do a clean install. I know a lot of people when they update like to do a clean install, but if you don't want to have to reinstall everything, then you can keep all of your files and apps and stuff. Somewhere on the Microsoft's website, which is what I'm trying to find the link to, I actually did this myself because Microsoft are rolling out the update to the October version in what they call waves. I didn't want to wait, so I downloaded this tool that you can get from Microsoft that you run to update immediately. I mean, they don't suggest you do that because, you know, just in case there are problems, but I've not had any problems. I did that on 3 machines and it's all been fine. But if you want to play it safe, just wait for the update to come through in the Windows update that you normally do. Wow. Why can I not find it? Maybe update tool. Let's try that. Okay, this is what I want. This is what you want right here, Windows 10 2020 update. Now you can either download the tool and install it fresh, or you can use the update now, which is the one that I used. I'll just pop this link in Twitch chat. Man, look at the length of this link. Really? Wow. Man, Microsoft. That's the link. You found it at the same time. Android Lost says to help with, I believe, straight through Microsoft's website. Yep. So yeah, click that and you should be able to update. If not, if that doesn't work, I haven't tried that from Windows 7, whether that will work from Windows 7. If not, then use the download tool, which will download an ISO image that you can burn to a USB drive. Just plug it into your Windows 7 machine and basically you open it up and you can do the same thing. You can either update it or you can install it fresh. Andrew Doss says, read the first plus for some more detail. Oh, there we go. If you have a license to install 10 and are upgrading this PC from Windows 7 to Windows 8.1, you need to reinstall Windows 10 on the PC broadly. So blah, blah, blah. Basically, anyway, you use that tool, it should be able to update for you. So that's how you do it. It's really simple. Microsoft made it as simple as possible. Actually, I wanted to point something else out here as well. I'm just going to hang at the doorway for a minute. You remember how we created these symbols? Now what I've done is I've created an animated texture here that will fade in and out the symbols that are on the sides of the doorway, just to make it look a bit more interesting, so they fade completely away. Let's go look at it from this side. It's probably a bit better because it's a little darker. So yeah, symbols are not showing, and then it's a randomized sort of time. They'll show up and fade in and fade out and all that sort of jazz. I just wanted to point that out because I did that last night and I didn't show it on stream today. On stream yesterday. No problem, Hellforge. So yeah, it's just an animated material, uses the time node to fade the material in and out. It's actually using an emissive material here. So it sort of fades the pentagram in and also fades those symbols on the side of the door randomly. Time for a coffee. I'm just hanging on the doorway there so you can see what I mean. There we go. See, it fades out, then it fades back, and again, it's all randomized. The same sort of way that the light bulbs flicker in and out. Just again to add a little bit more interest for the player as they're moving through the hallway. Okay, so I made that adjustment on the frame where I turned off that the player can step up on the frame. We'll test that out in a minute. But I also just want to make a change here on the cans because these tins are also we're stepping up on them. But for these ones, I'm not going to turn off can step up on. I'm actually going to remove the collision on them because they don't need collision being that low on the ground. So if I show collision, you can see that it does have collision on it. So I'm just going to remove collision on that and resave the model. I'm also just going to check these cans as well, because again, they shouldn't need collision. Again, they do have collision, so I'm just going to remove it. The other thing I changed that I made from what you guys saw yesterday I should say, is on this this urn. Remember how we said I want it to sort of rotate? We are going to have a particle effect here, and we're also going to have a particle effect that comes down here. I'm probably not going to show those on stream because I do want to leave some things to for people to discover when they buy and play the game. But so that's the reason that this is in the air. We want it to rotate around a little bit slowly as people play through, and you'll see that when I go to play in editor, which I'm going to do right now. But I'm just going to move back to the beginning of the steps here. Make sure I'm not going to be caught on anything when I press play in editor. And I'm just going to save the level before I actually start playing it, just to be on the safe side. It's just about to have a copy when it's finished. Okay, let's play in editor. So let's walk through and see if we get caught up on that again. No, we're still getting caught up on it. So even though I turned off can step up on, unless there's something else he's standing on. Yeah, I don't know, don't really see. It's hard for me to see what he's standing. It looks like he's standing on the frame still. So, yeah. All right, let's stop that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually turn off collision on this one as well. I'm going to remove collision on them. Yeah. Andrew Dust says, Phil, did you see where a lot of streamers were getting DMCA note takedowns because of copyrighted music? I know the music you have isn't copyrighted. Yes, I did. I read Reddit quite a bit. Twitch's Reddit. I like Reddit on Twitch on Reddit. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not official. It's unofficial. But I was reading a lot of people talking about it because Dan's Gaming. He's quite a big streamer on Twitch. He does, he does get Let's Plays of games. He had all of his years worth of his VODs deleted by Twitch. They did warn everyone. I mean, they sent out an email because I got it, even though I don't have any copyright music. I don't use copyright music. They sent it out to every streamer saying, go through your VODs because we're going to be doing a purge. And they did a purge and they've deleted years worth of streamers' VODs. Because streamers like to keep, I do the same thing. It's like a record of your streaming on the platform, so you keep all of your VODs, and to have them all deleted suddenly, but they were warned, you don't play copyright music, it's, don't do it, you can't do it. People were doing it and they knew it was wrong and they knew that they shouldn't be doing it, and now the chickens have come home to roost. I did read it, and it is sad and terrible for those people that have lost all of their VODs, but they should have been keeping backup copies anyway, like I do. I upload all of my streams to Twitch, which keeps them on Twitch forever, as long as there's no copyright music in them. But I also keep a hard drive, which just has my previous broadcasts on it as well. Physical hard drive here at home. So if anything ever did happen to my streams on Twitch, I still got them all, a copy of them all. So just to be on the safe side. But I did hear about it, and I know a lot of streamers were really complaining about it. Healthwood says, I'm always worried about messing with tech stuff since I don't understand it, and I rarely have enough money on hand to replace something if it goes to hell. Yeah, look, that's a valid point and a valid fear. But generally with software, if it goes wrong, then you just either reinstall a backup you made, and Windows comes with backup software built in, so make a backup before you do anything. And if it goes pear-shaped, then just reinstall the backup that you had. And if worse comes to worse and you don't have a backup, well then just reinstall the operating system. I know it's a pain, but it's always nice to have a nice, clean, fresh operating system anyway. Makes it feel more snappy. But yeah, no, that's a valid point. I mean, it is. It's why I haven't updated the BIOS on my main computer here, even though they've released like 6 more BIOSes since I bought it. Because the BIOS is something that if you're not really careful, you can actually brick your motherboard, which means it's useless. So they always say if you don't need to update your BIOS, don't update your BIOS, for the reason that you run the risk that you could possibly brick your motherboard if something goes wrong during the upgrade. So I haven't done my BIOS. Some people say, oh, I love to always install the latest BIOS for my machine, and that's fine. It's always generally good, but they don't even the motherboard manufacturers, they put big warnings in red letters saying if your BIOS is working correctly, we do not recommend you update your BIOS. So even they don't want you to do it. But that's a BIOS. That's different. Software, if it goes wrong, just reinstall it. Or go back to the backup you have. Elfwood says, I'm so reliant on my PC working that I don't dare mess with it once it works. Well, I'm the same. I mean, I need my computers for work, particularly now that we're all in lockdown. Or we're actually out of lockdown now in Melbourne, but you know what I mean. Around the world, we're all working from home. And I've always worked from home anyway. I have to go in generally a couple of days a week for meetings and stuff, but that's been on hold because we've been in lockdown in Melbourne. But so I rely on my machines for work as well, and I can't have any downtime. I can't say to the studio, oh, I'm sorry, I can't meet that deadline because I decided to upgrade my BIOS and I bricked my motherboard, so you're going to have to wait a month for me to get a replacement. No, that's not going to go down. That won't be going, that won't fly at all. Android Lust says it's unfortunate to lose all or most of your VODs. It is, if that happens, it is. I can't understand why streamers are upset. Look, I'm not saying they shouldn't be upset. I get it. I get why they're upset. Now we're fine, you see. We're not tripping up on that picture frame, and the player is not likely to notice that they're going to be walking through the frame anyway. Unless they're looking at it as they're walking past, and unless they get right into it like that, they're not going to see it or notice it. And it just helps the player move more freely through the hallway if they're not being caught on collision. Plus it makes the game a little bit faster because there's less collision for it to worry about. So it's win-win-win. Let's check the cans here now to make sure we're not tripping up on them. And we're not. So that's all good. And you see what I mean here by the thing rotating. It's just slowly rotating, and it will have a particle effect around it. So it won't look quite so odd with this thing just rotating on its own. There'll be a particle effect around it. But yeah, I didn't have that problem with the VODs because I use royalty-free, copyright-free music, as you see, and I always make sure that the artist's name and the song name is showing for whatever is playing, because those people deserve exposure as well. They created the music, so people should be able to see who it is that they're listening to. So I always made sure that number one, I use copyright-free music, and number two, I always credited the artist that created the song. The thing that's a little concerning at the moment is there's talk that game music might also become copyrighted. Now that's really going to be a problem for Twitch, because you can't play a game and not have music. So for instance, you hear the song playing in the background here in this game at the moment. Now the studio owns the copyright to that, and if we wanted to, we could lodge a copyright thingy we could say, we could take down anyone playing the game that had the music playing in the background, because the studio owns the copyright to the song. I mean, we didn't create the song. It's created by our composer. He's a French guy, and he owns the music, but we own the copyright to this music in this game because it was created for the game. So, but yeah, there was talk that that they may make it so game music gets copyright striked. And I don't know how that would work on Twitch, because you can't play a game and not hear the music. That would just be terrible. So I don't know what's going to happen there. That'll be interesting to see. What? Yeah, Andrew. What? I know. I don't know. Hellforge says copyright claim against anyone using the music. Yeah, and they can. If a game studio wanted to, they could copyright claim it. Well, they own the copyright, and they could get it taken down if it's being broadcast. They're unlikely to, I would have thought, because, I mean, game studios want Twitch streamers to play their game because they want the exposure for the game. So they're not likely to sort of copyright their music, but they could, legally, if they wanted to. They could say to Twitch, take it down. This guy's playing this music in our game and we copyrighted the music, and they don't have the right to play it on stream live, so take it down. Again, generally, I don't see why they would do that. It really would hurt the game studio and the game more than anything. But hey, Nintendo, they're pretty strict with their stuff, so some companies will do it. Sony can be pretty strict as well. I think I'm walking up on the crates as well. Yeah, I am. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to look at the crates. I'm just going to turn off the DLSS as well. Okay, let's look at these crates. And again, I'm just going to turn off player can step up on. So I won't switch the collision off, but I will just turn off the fact that the player can stand on them. I'm going to do that on all of the crates. The quickest way to do it would be for me to go into the object and remove collision. If we want to make it so the player can't stand on it, then we have to do it for every mesh that's used in the game. So it's much more time consuming. Hellforge says, I'm sure whoever thought it was a good idea to suggest copyright strike game music has been sniffing glue and dropping LSD for 5 weeks straight. Well, there was that guy who works at Stadia, or worked there, I don't know if he still works there, who said something about, Stadia is Google's streaming gaming service that no one uses. But he said, what did he say? He said that Twitch streamers should not be able to stream games, period, because it's it's taking revenue away from the game developer. Because he was saying basically Twitch streamers are making money on other people's work by streaming games, and he thought that should be stopped. I don't know. I think they might have sacked him or he resigned. I'm not sure, but there was a big stink about it. by the suggestion that that streamers shouldn't be allowed to stream games because they take money away from the developer. That did not go down well. My apologies if you hear that. That's my phone going off in the background. They love to contact me, the studio, when I'm in the middle of streaming for some reason. I don't know, maybe they're watching. And they think, let's send him a message right now. I'm going to do the same over here in the corner. I don't want the player to be able to stand on these things. Helpwood says, because of a normal person, it makes no bloody sense. Helpwood says, strangely enough, the one VOD I still have with copyright music seems to be just fine. I guess they don't care about melodic death metal. Helpwood says, streamers and content creators should have to pay a content license for playing games like companies have to do to broadcast music. Another person with a single digit IQ or just blinded by the almighty dollar. Yeah, it did not go down well. I mean, and generally, like I said, games companies are happy for you to play their game and stream it because it's exposure for the game. So, you know, a streamer is playing a game and you guys are watching, or we're watching, and we think, oh, I'd like to play that game as well. So they generally are happy to let streamers do it because they know that they'll get sales out of it usually. Which is what it's all about. They want to make them megabucks. And also, I'm just going through and making sure that these are set so the player cannot step up on them. I mean, I wasn't having a problem here, but I'm just going through to make sure anyway. Things that are higher, like these barrels, that's the word I'm looking for, they're generally probably not going to be able to be stepped up on anyway because they're a bit high. The player would have to jump to step up on them, so that's okay. Helpwood says, yeah, for sure, streaming a game is free marketing that studios publishers don't even have to pay anything for unless you do sponsored streams. Digitalis, thank you for the host, buddy. It's good to see you. I hope you're well. Good to see you, Digitalis. And again, thanks for hosting the channel. So we're just going through and making sure that anything that you shouldn't be able to step up on, you can't step up on. Just to make sure the player doesn't get caught anyway. You have to be a little bit careful. You don't want to make something that, once you make it so that the player can't step up on it, you run the risk of the player being blocked by it. So yeah, just be careful when you're doing it. Like for instance, here, if I was to make it so that the player couldn't step up on that cloth, then the player may have a problem getting through here. So I'm just going to go through to the front of the room and we'll check that. Let's check this one. We don't want the player stepping up on the deer head either. They're unlikely to be able to step up on the table because of the height, but we don't want them to step up on the chairs. Digitalis says, you finished my project? You just finished his project. What are we doing today? We're working on the attic for the House in the Hollow, Digitalis. So we're finishing the attic up today. That's what we're working on. And I'm just going through at the moment to make sure that the player is not going to get caught up on anything as they walk through, basically. Because we want people to have a pleasant playing experience. Because I know when I play a game, if I get caught on collision, then that really annoys me. Okay, I think that should be it for that corner. A player that's too high for them to step up on. We've fixed those. We need to do these crates as well. I am determined to get this attic finished today, so next week we can move on to the sitting room downstairs. We've got a couple of crates here as well. Make sure they can't step up on the books. They don't need to stand on books. Again, the table's probably a little bit higher than they'd need to step up on anyway, but just to be on the safe side, we'll make sure they can't. And we'll just do this little metal rusty box as well. And also make sure that the bottle, they can't stand on the bottle. You have to be pretty well balanced to be able to stand on a cork on a bottle like that, but we'll make sure. I think that should be it. I don't think there's anything else the player could get caught up on. What project are you working on, Digital? Helpwood says finishing the attic seems to be the plan. That's the plan. Helpwood says, I was going to say something about sitting in the kitchen, but I don't want to get slapped again. You will get a slap again. Helpwood says, remember to save and drink coffee. I will do that right now. So yeah, what are you working on, Digitalis? Digitalis is a streamer as well. So let's do a save and I'll have a coffee. Oh, you drop a render in Discord? Cool. Again, guys, if you want to join the Discord server, go feel free, show off your work in the gallery because I love looking at the stuff you guys are making. It's the whole reason I'm on Twitch. I mean, I could sit on my lonesome and do my work, but I stream on Twitch to encourage you guys to do 3D. Or just artwork in general, because art is fun. Helpwood says, sadly, I'm not well enough balanced individual to stand on a cork bottle. And thank you. There's a Discord link that Helpwood has just popped into Twitch chat. If you do want to join the Phildo's 3D Discord server and become a Phildo. And you can also wishlist this game that I make. You see me working on here on Steam by clicking the link in Twitch chat. Okay, I'm just going to, again, I'm just going to play in editor to make sure that we're all copacetic and good. And let me jump down. I was stuck on the banister there. I was a bit too high when I started playing editor. So I'm walking through, I'm not getting caught on anything, that's good. I'm walking through, I'm not getting caught on anything, that's good. I'm walking around. I'm walking through, I'm not getting caught, that's good. I'm coming up to the altar, that's good. I'm coming down from the altar, I think we're good. I don't think we're getting caught on anything. So that's all good. Yep, no, we look good. All right. Let's just turn off that output for DLSS. Now again, you see me using a version of the engine that is not the one that you download from Epic Games. I'm using a build that NVIDIA created. It's one that you do have to actually compile yourself though. You can't just hit a button in the launcher and install it. You need to download the source files from GitHub and compile the build using Visual Studio or another program like Visual Studio to compile the program. Love the lighting, Digitalis. Oh, thank you. We're just going to make some improvements to the level in 2 seconds. So what have I got left to do? I need to... My phone's going off. I'm going to be ignoring it. I need to add the particle effects for the dust. I need to add the green space reflection captures as well. So we'll leave the dust until the end. And I also need to add 2 spotlights on the lights on one side of the building room because that's the side that the sun is hitting. Let's do that first actually. So to do that, what I'm going to do is I am going to have to leave this room, even though they've told me I should not be leaving the room I'm working in. The studio have said you must stay in that room. I've got to go down because I want to grab one of the lights downstairs because I want to keep the angle of the light the same between all of the different windows on that side of the building. So on that one side of the building that the sun hits it, all of the spotlights have to be angled the same way. Otherwise it's going to look weird. Android Lust says, you leave the room every stream. I know. Shh, don't tell them. Shh. Grizzly Gear. Hey, Grizzly Gear. It's good to see you. How are you? What you been up to? How have you been, Grizzly Gear? Yeah, I know I leave the room all the time, but you know, this can't be helped sometimes. Just got to do it. But I'll try and minimize it as much as I can. Hellforge says maybe the studio sent him a preemptive text before he even left the room. Let me have a look. Let me have a look at what was this? What is coming through here? No, they can wait. It wasn't about that. It was the ArchViz studio, not the game studio. So. Digitalis says, yeah, I dropped a render in Discord. Enjoy. I'll upload more on ArtStation tomorrow. Cool. And now, I have Discord open at the same time as Twitch chat, so don't think if you post anything in the Discord, I won't see it. I will see it immediately. They're both right next to each other on my second monitor. That looks really cool. I'll show that toward the end of the stream, Digitalis. I like to show the work that you guys put in the gallery just before I close off the stream for the day. But if you do post something in the gallery and you're not comfortable with me showing it on stream, just tell me when you post the image. Just say, look, please don't show it on stream. And I won't. Because I know not everybody is comfortable having their work broadcast on stream, on Twitch, on live. But I'll show that off just before the end of the stream, Digitalis. Now, if you don't want to wait for me, jump on the Discord and check it out yourself right now. Otherwise, I will show it just before I sign off for the day. I'm just going to go... No, I'm going to leave the room. They're just going to have to live with it. Because I need to grab the light from here. I have a spotlight that I want a copy of. And I want to bring that up to the attic. I'm going to have to pull out so I can move it more quickly. Otherwise it's going to take me forever. Let me get into the attic. So we want to move it over, we will want to move it up. And see, I need to keep the angle the same. So that's the reason that I wanted to copy the light, so that we get the same angle coming through. Andrew Dust says, nice work. It is beautiful work, Digitalis. Very, very nice work. Grizzly Gear says, I'm doing good. This is looking great. I've just been working on a new model for a challenge. Me and some friends are doing. How have you been doing, Phil? I've been doing really well. Yeah, no, I'm good. Thanks for asking. I was in lockdown because of the human malware in the city that I live in, but that's all been lifted. As of today, all the retail shops are open again and everything's back to normal. Well, as normal as it can get in these times we live in now. But yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm happy. It's all good. You'll see too that these this spotlight actually has a particle effect. Not a particle effect, but it has fogging in it. So it is a particle effect in a way. I can't remember exactly what Epic call it. Volumetric lighting, that's what it is. It's volumetric lighting, so you sort of see it as I move toward the light there. You can see it's like a fog effect. We are going to be putting particle effects in though, so. But yeah, because the sun is hitting these two windows and not the ones over here, we needed to make sure that the light is shining through the window. What's the model you're working on for the challenge, Grizzly Gear? Andrew Luss says, don't know how well a soda bottle suppressor works in real life. Digital says, you only get one shot, then it breaks. Grizzly Gear says, good to hear. Andrew Luss says, true, I think it will literally blow off the bottle. Halford says, with the volume going to 11? What are we talking about? What are you working? What challenge are you working on, Grizzly Gear? I'm curious. What you making? What is it? I like to know these things. Again, I'm just getting into a position here where I can sort of get my light positioned correctly. So I think we'll have the light come from... I don't want to take it too high. I want to bring it down a bit. I'm looking at the wall here as I'm moving it. While that is correct, I like to add a little bit more ambience and atmosphere and make it a little darker toward the ceiling, so I'm dropping the light down. Again, I'm just going through to make sure my light isn't traveling too far, and it does look like it is. So I might pull back on that. I mean, it doesn't matter, because I mean, you won't see it through here. The ceiling is in the way. But I might just pull it back a little anyway. Volumetric lighting, Helford says. Yes, that's right. Helford says, half-assed attempt at Spinal Tap reference. Oh, okay, that's what you guys are talking about. Good movie though, Helford says. Smurfberry, it's good to see you, buddy. How are you? Smurf says, this is not Spinal Tap. That's a movie, isn't it? Grizzly Gear says, I'll drop a work in progress in the Discord. Oh, cool, and I see you have. Cool, very nice, Grizzly Gear. That's really interesting. I love the design of the model. Like the concept for the model. Yeah, she looks really good. Love it. Again, I'll show that just before I close off for the day. So at the end of the stream today, I'll show off Digitalis's and Grizzly Gear's image. Unless you don't want me to, Grizzly Gear, in which case I won't. Yeah, so if you're happy with me to show it, that's cool. I'll show it toward the end of the stream. But if you don't want me to, just say, and I won't. Good to show, good. Because I love showing off the work you guys are doing. I'm just going to look at this spotlight here, and we're going to... I'm not changing the direction, I'm just playing with the attenuation a little bit. Might play with the intensity as well, but we'll play with the attenuation first. So I'm just pulling it back a bit because it doesn't really need to go through the floor. So in fact, I probably should check that on the other one. If it was set that high, it really shouldn't be that high. I'm just going to do that quickly before I forget. I just want to check this because they really should not be running that high. With lights in the game engine, you really want to make sure that they're not... The smaller the light radius, the attenuation radius, the faster the engine will run. So you should reduce your lights to the minimum that is needed to fall where you need them to fall. Yeah, no, that's okay. I wanted this one a little bit. It's still a bit big, actually. Yeah, I think that's a bit big. I'm going to reduce that a bit. Doesn't need to be quite that. That's better. Let me just undo that. I just want to check why I did that. Yeah, no, there's no reason for me to be doing that. So we'll pull it back. I do have another couple in here that I just want to check as well, and I know they're going to be really screaming at me for going through the level and when I'm not supposed to be. These are things that need to be checked, so they're just going to have to live with it. It might have been during an update to the program. Epic might have changed something. So I don't remember making these lights this large. The attenuation on these this large. So again, I'm just going to go through and pull these back. I'm just going to make it until they just about hit the floor. Just hit the floor. Like that. So around about 1,000 is the value that I want to use, and I do have a couple of lights in here I need to do as well. There's one on this side. Yeah, you never know what changes happen between different versions of the engine, and that's way too big. The attenuation on that's way too big. So again, let's set this back to around about 1,000. Half of what it is. That's better. All right, now I can go back upstairs and they can stop screaming at me. Andrew Loss says to Grizzly Gear, what challenge is it? Smurfberry says 1 bajillion size lights. Yes, that's right. Grizzly Gear says it's a challenge. It's a challenge me and some friends have made for the month called Hello's Harvest Challenge. Cool. Some pretty sweet renders in the Discord. There are. Some of you guys are very talented. I love looking at stuff you guys have made because you're all very, very talented. Talented group of guys and girls. Andrew Doss says pretty much an October challenge. That's right, because we've got Halloween coming up, haven't we? I know it's very big for you guys in the US, Halloween. It's getting big here as well. Again, I'm just checking that light, see what it looks like. Now I'm just going to make maybe some. We'll just check the intensity a little bit. Might just pull it back a little bit. I don't want to light the room too much. I just wanted to make sure the angle stayed the same. That's the reason I had to copy the light. And I think 3,000 is fine. All right, let's duplicate the light for the other side. Put it about the middle of the window. I'm just going to pull back on the cone angle a little bit, just a little bit too wide. Grizzly Gear says, yep, to the October challenge. Hellforge says Guntober this month on Twitter and November next month. We have Movember in this country where all the guys grow a moustache for charity. They call it Movember. Android Loss says, don't know if Halloween will be big for the US this year. No, not with everything going on. Let's change that to 22 and we'll change this one to 32. Let's do the same for this light here. Now you see this one's hitting the floor. This one is not. So I might just extend this one to be a little bit bigger as well. Again, I'm just going to make sure I'm not going too far into the room below. I am a little bit. Let's pull it back a little bit. Let's try 800. Try 700. 700 should be fine. Okay. When we get to a certain angle, we can see the volumetric effect in the light. You have to get it at a specific angle to see it though. I'm just going to check scattering intensity and indirect light intensity. We're at 70 at the moment. So let's try 200 on this. No. We'll keep it at 70. I'm just checking what other values are set up on the light. Cast volumetric shadow. Effect ray trace reflections. Cast static, cast dynamic, effect translucent lighting, cast volumetric shadow. That has to be turned on, otherwise you won't see the volumetric effect. By default you see it's not turned on. Effect ray trace reflections and effect ray trace global illumination. I'll leave them switched on. Generally these sort of things I'll turn off just for performance reasons, but I'll see what it's like in play. And if I think it's taking away too much performance, which it doesn't look like it is, I can turn them off. Okay, so let me have a look here. Helpwood says, my drawer is constantly on the floor with the November stuff. I love procedural material stuff, but nothing I've made is even close to most of that stuff. Saving coffee, good idea. Let's do a save and I can have a coffee. Helpwood says, I've had a moustache and a beard since 2009. I don't remember how it feels to be babyface. I don't have a beard. I've got like, a 3-day growth that's permanent. I use clippers. It's too much work using a razor and shaving and being clean shaven. The reason I do this is because it's easy and it's quick and I'm lazy. I just keep it like this because it's quick and easy. Works for me. All right. So what do we got left? Reflection capture. So let's bring in a reflection capture. We're going to start with the room over here though. And again, I don't put spots on these lights because these are in shadow at the back of the building. They don't have light streaming through them, so they don't need spotlights. Just the rec light is enough. But we do need to bring in reflection capture. So I can copy one from another part of the building, but it's probably just easier for me to just to bring one in. If I can remember where they are, because I generally don't work with this menu. I normally copy. Where do they put them? It must be under a volume. It's a reflection capture volume. Oh, look. Let's just do a search. No. We're going to use sphere and box, but as a general overview, we're just going to bring in a box reflection capture. And I'm going to resize it so it fits the room. Really? Really? Alright. 100. I'm going to make it small and then we can go from there. Let's get the width correct first. We want to make sure we're just intersecting the wall. I have to be careful I don't go too far because I don't want to bring it into this room. Okay, let us work on the width. Helford says, having stubble like that is great if you have an easy to reach itch and you keep your nails really short. My nails are really short, so. Again, I'm just going to scale this up so that we fit this section of the room. Let me catch up on thanking some people. 3D Noodle, thank you for the follow. Honeycomb Beatbox, thank you for the follow. Helda Vilwood, I'm terrible with your usernames, my apologies guys. Helda, thank you for the follow as well. And my apologies if I'm mangling your name. Helda Vilwaren. Helda Vilwaren? Crazy awesome, thank you for the follow as well. Thank you guys very much for following the channel. Welcome to Phil Does 3D. I do appreciate it when you guys do follow the channel, so thank you very much. Did I get rated? Have I been rated by someone? Again, it's not showing up in my Twitch chat that I've been rated, but thank you if I have been rated, and welcome you guys. Legmog raid? Oh, Legmog! Hey buddy, how are you? Is it Ingeku? How do I pronounce your name, Ingeku? Or yeah. Legmog, it's great to see you, buddy. How are you? Legmog says, greetings, Phil. I brought with me a fellow Aussie streamer. Oh, okay. I encountered her in the post-apocalyptic Mad Max wasteland, so I brought her with me. BBY says, I don't care if it worked. Ingachu, thank you for telling me how to pronounce it. Welcome, Ingachu. My apologies for not being able to pronounce your name. Are you a fellow Aussie streamer, Ingachu, or is Legmog lying like normal? Because I'm also an Aussie streaming from Melbourne, Australia. Yep, I'm an Aussie streamer. Game dev. Oh, okay. Now, how do I pronounce your name? Is it K-Twin? K-Twin? Game dev, cool. Yeah, 3D artist, Ingochute, cool. Same as me, environment specialist, pretty much in 3D art, but I've done a lot of different stuff. Helpwatch says, very true, Android, Digitalis. Yep, okay. Kate-Win, okay. Megmog says, hey people from my stream, Phil is an amazing 3D artist, but one word of warning, don't ever mention kitchens and toilets. Phil doesn't appreciate CGI kitchens and toilets around these parts. Well, you know what you get, don't you, Legmog, for, being such a smart ass, you get a Phil slap. You are Phil slapped. We will have a kitchen. It's not in the building yet. It will be going in though. Trust me. But it's going to be, because you guys have given me so much shit about it, it's going to be the very last thing I put in the building. Once we're finished with the attic here, we're going to be moving to the sitting room, and then we're going to move to the basement, and then we're going to do the kitchen because that's the last room left. So you're all going to have to wait. I gave you a gold toilet. What more do you people want? Come on. Wow. Really? Ingachi says, yeah, I do a lot of environment stuff in UE4 too. Cool. Helpwood says, yeah, I'm not the only one who got slapped this stream. No, you got a slap right off the bat though this morning when I first started streaming because you deserved it. And Legmog just deserves a slap every time he pokes his head in anyway. Digitalis says, how about a used toilet? No, I didn't give you... You've got a gold toilet. I mean, come on. You've got a gold toilet seat. What more do you want? You wanted a gold toilet seat? I put a gold toilet seat in the game for you. Smurf says, I'm pretty happy with my gold toilet. Hellforge says, I might have mentioned the kitchen at the start of the stream. You did. Trump toilet, Android Lost says. That's right, we have a Trump toilet. Legmog says, oh my god, did Phil just do a swear? That's a first. I didn't really swear. That's not a swear word, is it? No, it's not a swear word. I try and avoid swear words. We try and keep it clean. Because, we don't know what age group people are watching my stream, and I'm not a rated R streamer, so I have to try and keep it clean for people. Just making sure that this reflection capture box is big enough to cover the entire room, and it's not quite yet because I moved it too far. Still not quite. Still needs to be bigger. Digitalis says, I agree, Leggy deserves a slap every time. He does. Legmog says, I've never heard such foulness escape from those lips. That's not true. Android Lost says, Phil swears every stream. I don't swear every stream. You lies. It's all lies. Lies, I tell you. I keep it clean. And you guys have to keep it clean too. Because you got to think of the young'uns. You don't know how old some people might be watching a stream are. I know all you jaded oldies want to swear your heads off, but young'un people shouldn't be swearing, so. And Android Lost says, Phil swears every stream and claims he's not swearing. That's not true. I don't swear every stream. Come on. Come on, you're lying. You're all lying. You're all ganging up on me and lying. Mercury says, sure do. Sure you do. Yeah, it's not true. I mean, I don't say the really bad swear words anyway, do I? Not the ones that start with F or C or B. I say none of those things. What? Remember, he says it's like every second or third stream, maybe. It's not true. Legmogs. Maybe it is true. I don't know. I don't know anymore. You people are. I don't know. Maybe it is true. Maybe you're convincing me I do now. Legmog says, so me and BBY just finished an exercise stream. We're doing the Chloe Ting 2-week shred challenge. I'm not familiar with that one. And tomorrow's special guest appearance by Ingachu. Oh, well, that's good. You should. So you're going to be streaming tomorrow, doing a an exercise stream, Legmog. I'll have to tune in and check it out. What time are you streaming? Modboy says fiddle muffins. Oh, Modboy. Android Lust says Oz swear words must be different than states. My apologies, guys. My phone is going off again, as usual. Okay, they can wait. Android Lust says Oz swear words must be different than the states. No, I think they're pretty much the same. And Hellforge says Phil doesn't swear every stream unless I'm too jaded to notice it. Oh, I don't swear. Thank you, Hellforge. The only person sticking up for me. All these people are telling me I swear when I don't. Hellforge says gotta get swole for the beach season. Oh, Phil can't read. Gotta get swole for the beach season. Good on your Legmog. That's right. Igachu says 10 a.m. Australian time. I will check it out tomorrow. Legmog says, yes, 10 a.m. Australian time, 4 p.m. USA West Coast, 7 p.m. USA East Coast, 11 p.m. UK time. Well, there you go. He's got you covered by giving you all the times he's streaming. Legmog usually does 3D stuff as well. You should check his stream out, guys and girls, if you're when he's streaming, because he's another very talented 3D artist as well. He uses Cinema 4D unless he's changed. But check him out tomorrow if you want for an exercise stream. That should be interesting. And I'm glad you're sticking with your exercise, Legmog. Everybody should exercise. It's good. I don't do enough exercise. I should do more. So I can't talk, but you know. I can give advice, but I can't take it. These reflection captures are always so fiddly. I think we'll pull it back just a little bit more. Okay, let's try scaling it up. Actually, I think I pulled it back a bit too far. Okay. I need it to go just inside the wall. Oh, we're ever so close. Hellforge has also got some crazy stories. Ingachu says, come join the exercise stream then. Hellforge says, Phil man, you got to push those polygons harder. That's right, that's my exercise, pushing the polys. And painting the birds. No. Yeah, I push polys and paint birds, don't I? I think that's what my blurb says. Okay, we're inside the wall there, so that should be fine. And we're inside the wall there, so that should be fine. Now we just have to work on the height. I'm getting confused. Oh, it's because I can't see the. Oh, there we go. There we go. I can see it just there. Those two little yellow lines. Just gotta make sure I'm not too far into the ceiling. Working with these reflection captures is a real pain. Generally, if you put wireframe mode on, it can help, but sometimes not. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring it in a little bit so I can see where it is. There we go. Only with these box captures, these sphere reflections, generally they're pretty easy to place, but these box ones, particularly if you want to get it sort of like scaled to the correct size of a room, can be really fiddly to work with. Looks like it needs to be just a little bit higher. And pull that up and scale it up. It should be good, I think. Legmug says, yeah, I've lost 42 pounds, 19 kilos since January. That's amazing. Well done. That's quite a lot of weight, 19 kilos since January. You're doing really well. Helpwood says, and crush the trigons with some brutal flexing. Yeah, no, really well done, Legmug. That's excellent news. You must be feeling much more energetic as well, because I know when I lost all my weight, I had a lot more energy. Wasn't such a chore to move around. But that's great news. Ingachi says, Legmog, that's amazing. Legmog says, thanks, peeps. I mean, I've been exponentially gaining weight since I was like 14. Now I'm 32. So I might be approaching some sort of respectable-ish size. Helford says, that's really good, Legmog. Dropping that much isn't easy by any stretch. No, it's not. Andrew Dust says, I've always been extremely active to not have to lose weight. Then I started doing 3. It's all that sitting and constant eating. It's easy to do. Ingachi says, are you friends with Chris Murphy? I see he follows you on Twitter. Are you talking to who? No. Who's Chris Murphy? Sorry, should I know? Look, I'm terrible. I don't know if you're talking to me, Ingachi, but no, I'm not. I don't follow Chris. I'm not sure who Chris is. Oh, Melbourne UE4 guy. No, I did not know. I'm glad he's following me. Thank you, Chris, for following my Twitter channel, but my apologies for not knowing who you were. Yeah, no, I don't think I do. Just going to bring this down. I can see it just there, so I just want to bring it down inside the floor. There we go. Alrighty. Hellforge says, I've been obese my entire... You're not obese, Hellforge. I've watched you stream. You're not obese at all. I've been obese my entire life, so I started doing keto and weight lifts last year, which finally got me down to around what a normal adult should be weighing. Yeah, no, your weight is fine, Hellforge. Android Lust says, I only need to lose 10 pounds, 4.5 kilos. Modboy says, I want a good cage fighting weight. Ah, dear. Okay, let me, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to duplicate this reflection capture for the other room because it's the right length, and we're just going to change the width, so I'm just going to duplicate it. And that way it's just easier for me than having to mess around with all of the different values. And we're going to move it into this room, and then we just have to work on the width because the height might need to be changed just a little bit as well, but it's mainly the width. And we get it around about the middle of the room. Let's scale it up. Move it over. Up a little bit more. Okay, and then the width. You might just make it a tad bigger, because this room goes back just a little bit more. Ingachi says, I lost a bunch of weight on keto as well, but then put it all back on. Android Lost says 3D is a hell of a drug. It is. Mod Boy says, with 3D modeling, it can be hard to tell when you're done. Yeah, I've always had that problem. Particularly at the studio, they always say, oh, we want it now, and it's never finished really. Everything I've done, I've always wanted to take more time doing. I've never been happy to say, oh, it's done. Sometimes you just got to, because otherwise it'll never get finished, and the studios will just constantly whinge, which is fair enough. But yeah, no, I'm never happy. I want to work on something forever. Again, I'm just trying to check the height of this. I'll just bring it down. The floor here is a little lower than the other room as well. Again, I've got to try and find where my... There we are. Okay. I think we're okay. I think we're within it. Cool. Now there is one more, which is just this hallway section through here, which I would like to get a reflection capture in as well. But for this one, I'm not going to copy. I'm just going to place a new box reflection capture in. We'll make it small. And let's scale it up. So width-wise, shouldn't take too long. This is a small room. My apologies for that banging you hear in the background. It's my next door neighbour. I don't know what he's doing. He's always banging away at something. You're going to... Ingachi, sorry about that. Ingachi says, I'm going to head off. Nice meeting you. Nice meeting you too. And everyone in chat. Thank you for popping in, Ingachi. Thank you for the follow. And I'll check out Legmog's exercise stream tomorrow. Thanks for popping in Ingachu, and for the follow. Legmog says, by the way, everyone should go follow Ingachu. Oh, she's even more awesome than a cheese sandwich. Well, there you go. I wasn't familiar. I didn't know that you streamed as well. Ingachu. Follow Ingachu as well. Ingachu is a game dev using Unreal Engine. Unless I've got that wrong. I'm pretty sure. That's what she said. So many great streamers on Twitch. That's one of the good things about the Twitch platform. No matter what you're interested in, there's someone that streams it. It's not just about games on Twitch, which is what a lot of people think. Just going to pull that up a little bit so I can see it as I make it bigger. I'm determined to get this level finished today, so next week we can move on to the sitting room. This room, I mean. Determined to get this room finished today, so next week we can move to the sitting room. That's what Phil's trying to say, and not doing a very good job about it. You'll give Ingachu a follow soon, Android Lost? Cool. Helpwood says, save and copy. Yes, I'll save just as soon as I get this this sized correctly. I think we might be okay. Again, I just want to make sure I don't go too far into the rooms below. No, it'll be fine. Alrighty. I think now we have all of our reflection captures in, so let's do a quick save. And have a coffee. Legmug says, gotta go and shower now. It's like I've jumped into a swimming pool of sweat. Ooh, go and have a shower, Legmog, you dirty boy. Thanks for popping in, Legmog. thanks for the raid as well. And I'll check you out tomorrow while you're exercising. Grizzly Gear says, back was cooking. Selfish One says, dude, you suck so bad. 1 versus 1 me. Android Lost says, it would have been nice if Bill could have given the new viewers a tour of the house. Yeah, no, we can't do that. The studio are already going to be screaming at me for leaving the room that I'm supposed to be in anyway. What we're going to do here, though, is we're going to just do a rebuild on the reflection captures now we've got them in. Okay. And I'm just going to go through to see if I want any spherical reflection captures anywhere. I don't think it really needs it. Generally you use spherical reflections for just areas you want to highlight, things that it might reflect the local environment a little bit better, a little bit at a higher resolution, but there's really nothing like that in this room. Everything's pretty much wood or it's dirty. There's nothing that's highly reflective, so I don't think we really need it. The only thing maybe would be this Dragon Ball, perhaps. Let me just bring a spherical reflection capture in. Scale it up. Hang on. Here we go. Let's drop this back. And let's rebuild reflections again. That should really be all that I need. I don't think I need any other reflection captures anywhere else. No. Okay, let's do a quick save. Healthboard says, I'd say the attention to detail in this room is reflective of the awesome artist who put it together, although I don't think you need the reflection captures for that. Healthboard. And coffee. Yeah. I don't think we need any more reflection captures. I think we're good. There was just one other thing I wanted to do before I put the particle effect in. I'm going to duplicate this little burner. So I just wanted to see what it might look like on the table in the front wall section with a particle effect of the flame. Just on the table in front of the mannequin over here. So if I move it there, so we have this mannequin here, and I was just worried that the cobwebs were getting a little bit lost. So my thinking was maybe if we put a light, like a candle light, just here. So what I'll do is I'll just move the urn back, the jug. What did we say the jug was full of? Moonshine. Move the jug back a little bit. And I might move the jug forward a little bit. Move you back a little bit. Don't do that. I'm just going to go into one lit mode so I can make sure that what I'm doing is sitting on the table. It's a little bit hard to see in lit mode. Yeah, we put all these cobwebs here, but they're not really being noticed a lot, and also the the mannequin. So what we might do here is I think I'm going to go back into lit mode. We're going to copy the particle effect here, which is the candle flame. Because it's a little oil burner thing. That's what the object is. Just got to get it positioned correctly. And we just need a light, so I'm just going to duplicate this. Let's pull back a little bit on the radius. Let's take that back to 100. I don't want to light that area too much, so I'm just worried that it might brighten up. I want to keep some darkness to that back corner there. So provided this doesn't make things too light. Just helps to highlight, oops, I'm inside of a cobweb, highlight the table a little bit more and the mannequin a little bit more as well. I might just pull up on the radius a little bit. And might just pull back a little bit on the brightness. So let's go to 0.3, 0.2. Yeah, just to help to highlight the mannequin and the cobwebs a little bit more as well. It still kept the area back here dark, which is what I wanted. Add a bit of mood. It just helps to lift that up a little bit more. Okay, let's do a save. I can have a copy and then we can do the particle effects and then the room will be done. Smokery says the jug of sea turtle souls. Oh, that's right. We've got pee bottles because, you know, Android Lust says the bottles are full of pee. Smurf said it was rhinoceros saliva or something, wasn't it? We have the moonshine jugs and or a jug of sea turtle souls, whichever you prefer. Weird thing to collect souls in, that's right. Please, no more cobwebs. No more cobwebs. Smokery says, well, we can't put our turtle souls in crystal bottles, can we? Healthforge says, personally, I store my captured sea turtle souls in a shoebox, which I keep in the back of the closet. I keep mine under my bed. Healthforge says, crystal bottles are so last century. Smurfery says, crystal is a prestige champagne brand. Healthforge says, today I learned something new. Okay, let's do some particle effects, shall we? And let me go into my effects folder. Dust. Let's start with Ambient Dust. Now, I'm not going to do what most people will do. Which is just flood the entire level with dust. I want to put the particle effects in specific areas to highlight specific areas. You see that this dust effect here is a little bit too big for what I want. So I'm going to remove that one. I'm going to go, let's try the dust flow. Yeah, the dust flow might be a bit better. I'm going to move it into where the window is. Again, I'm just checking how far that effect is moving. I don't want it to flood the room too much. I just want to keep it isolated to around the window. So basically where the light is coming in. Hard for you to see dust particles, I know, on stream, but Hellford says, I've only had champagne once in my life, which was New Year 99 to 2000. Not every day you'll experience a new millennium. Yeah. Champagne's okay, I guess. Not one of my favourite drinks. Now, Monday next week is Melbourne Cup here in Melbourne. Now that we're out of lockdown, they're doing Melbourne Cup. And you guys know I don't stream on Melbourne Cup. So I know I wouldn't be... I said my schedule won't change once I came back this week, but I'm not streaming on Monday, but I am streaming on Tuesday next week, probably with a hangover. So there won't be a stream on Monday next week, but then I'll be back on Tuesday, and then we're back to our normal streams until the end of the year, until Christmas. Again, I'm just going to make sure that my particle effect is not going outside of the building. So we've got a small dust particle effect around the window. Android Dust says, never had champagne, not a huge drinker. No, I'm not either. Apart from Melbourne Cup, I'll drink. And I'll pay for it on Tuesday when you see me streaming. Helpwood says, drink responsibly and stay safe. Yes, I will. Andrew Dust says, Melbourne Cup opens up in time with their National Get Wasted Day. That's right. We come out of lockdown just a few days before the Melbourne Cup, or about a week before the Melbourne Cup is being run. Okay, so we've got that particle effect there. I'm also going to duplicate this and move the particle effect in this corner around the lights, around the candles, I should say. Again, I just got to make sure I'm not going outside of the building. Let's duplicate this particle effect for the next window. It's going to be hard for you to see these dust particles on stream because, you know, because it's on stream and the dust particles are small. I'll try and see if I can't get into a position where you can see them. It is going to be difficult though. Yeah, no, I can't really get into position. Oh, yeah, because they're really faint, but they are there, trust me. So we got them at this window. I'm going to duplicate them and put some over here in this corner. Basically wherever the bigger light candle sections are, or that there's a light source like a window, is where I'm going to put the dust particles. Because that's when you see dust. It's when it's reflected. It's in light. If you're standing in a pitch black room, you won't see dust particles. You'll only see it when there's light hitting the dust. So it makes sense to put them around where lights are. But I do have to make sure that they don't go through to the bedroom, because we don't want the dust particles showing up in the bedroom. And also that they don't go into the hallway section here. and they don't go out too far outside the building. See, we do have some out here. I might have to pull it back a little bit. And maybe just pull it this way just a bit to make sure it doesn't go into the hallway. Helpwood says, Andrew Loss says, Melbourne opens up in time for the National Get Wasted Day, and Helpwood said, isn't that every day? Helpwood says, it's such a weird concept to me to just have a pint whenever you feel like it, even if it's the middle of the week. Since over here we're socially conditioned to only drink on Friday and Saturday, try having a pint or a glass of wine any other day and people will give you weird looks, really? Not in Australia. Australians drink like fish. They drink like fish. Every day is a good day to drink in Australia. I don't drink a lot though. You guys know I don't generally drink. I only drink, it's, you know, around special occasions like Christmas, New Year and Melbourne Cup. But they're the only 3 times I really drink. Apart from that, I don't drink at all alcohol. I'm very boring. Oh, I never used to be though. Helpwood says, but no one bats an eye if you're getting absolutely blackout drunk on those 2 days. Well, it's not good to get blackout drunk any day. But like I said, I can't talk. In my younger days, I used to drink and drink and drink until I was pretty much wasted. Completely wasted. And we'll put some particles around these candles as well. So you see them highlighted. Hopefully you can see that on the stream. So they're just a very small localized sections of particles, dust particles. I'm not flooding the entire room with particles of dust. It'll look better this way. It'll be more performant as well if you're not, you know, flooding everything with particles. So I guess some particles over on that side. So let's duplicate this. Again, I've got to make sure that I don't go into the hall. It should be fine. Let's pull them back a little bit more. Okay, we could do a particle group over here, near the other big candle group. Oh wow, stop moving that. There we go. Usual thing, I go to move the camera and I end up moving this by mistake. Moving an object or a particle effect by mistake. Okay, so we've got those there, those there, those there. I'm going to put some up here by that light. About the middle. Okay, I'm also going to put some on these 2 lights, and we're going to use a different particle effect for these 2 lights over here because they're in direct sunlight on the other side. So I'm just going to duplicate this one again. Sweden is a weird country, Helpwood says. Andrew Lust says, drinking isn't looked down upon here unless you overdo it and drink and drive. No, same here. Australians love to drink. It's not looked down upon at all. I think, yeah, Australians like to drink a little bit too much, in my opinion. They like to drink too much. It's not good. And let's duplicate that for the other side. Okay, again, we're not going into the hole. No, good. Alrighty, so again, I'm trying to get into a position here where you guys will see the dust particles, but it's difficult. Can you see them showing up here? Let me, if I get maybe a bit closer, and leave my camera here for a minute. You can see the dust particles showing up, hopefully on stream. It's very subtle, but they are there. I could increase the dust particle amount. We might play with that before I start the sitting room next week. But I do want to bring in, you can see the dust Helpwood, cool. Helpwood says, in accordance with Twitch terms of service, I'm not allowed to advocate the violence towards individuals, but if a person drinks and gets behind the wheel, I have absolutely no sympathy for them when they actually gets in really bad spot. No, I don't either. Same with drug users. It's none of my business if you take recreational puff now and then. But don't drive directly afterwards. You can see the dust. I do wonder what it looks like in play mode. Yeah, we will have a look. You can see it too. Okay, there's just two more windows we need to do then, and they're the ones on this side. And I want to use a different dust particle for that, which is this one here. This one is a little bit heavier. And I want this to be directional, so I'm going to rotate it around and rotate it around, basically to more follow the direction of the spotlight that we put around the window. If we find that the dust particles, the ones we just placed, are a little bit too subtle, we can just increase the number of particles like this effect has. This effect is a little bit more heavy, but it has a lot more dust particles than the other one did. So I'm just going to position it correctly and angle it correctly. Again, I've got to make sure I'm not going into the hole. I think I'm just okay. Let's duplicate it. And bring one over here. And maybe this is a bit easier for you guys to see the dust here because it's in direct sunlight. Save and copy. Good idea. Just deselect that, and yeah, you can see the dust here actually. Again, because it's in direct sunlight, it shows up a lot more, and this dust cloud is a little bit heavier than the other ones. But let's do a save. We'll just get rid of that. And I can have a copy, and then we'll look at the work you guys have put in the Discord. Just before I do that, I'll do a play in editor so we can sort of maybe see what it looks like when we're playing through the game. Thank you, Hellforge. Again, if you're watching the stream for the first time and you want to join the Phil Does 3D Discord, click that link that Hellforge has just popped into Twitch chat. So I'm just going to jump over here. We'll do a play in editor. Crazy Wessam, thank you for the follow. I do appreciate it. So welcome to Phil Does 3D, and thank you for the follow, Crazy. Wax Kink. It's good to see you, Wax Kink. How are you? Well, here, they're everywhere. Yes, it's good to see you, Wax King. Hope you've been well. So let's just do a play in editor here. And I want to see... I might have to increase the particle effect a bit in the windows, I think. I think it's a little bit too subtle. Yeah, I'm afraid it's a bit too subtle. Let me go in and look at the other one. You can see the particles here. Again, hopefully you guys can see that on stream. And we can see the particles here. Wax King says, I'm popping in to say hi to everyone. Love you guys, love you too, Wax. I've been struggling with burnout, but I'm pushing through. Good to hear. The dust shows up pretty well in those windows. It does. These windows it does. I'm worried about the other dust particles. They seem a little bit... Oh, look, I can see them, but they're very subtle. Very subtle. It might be a bit too subtle, these ones. I mean, you can see them. They pop in now and then. We may have to play with that next week before I start on the sitting room just to get the balance right. Because, I mean, I do want to be able to see them. And I think they're just a little bit too subtle at the moment. The ones on these windows, they're fine. I don't want to make them any heavier. Mod Boy says the little dust balls look good. Thanks, Mod Boy. Android Lust says pretty good, about to cook up another project. I think he's talking to Wax King. Mod Boy says dust balls. That's right, they're dust balls. Smurf says dust storm. Dude, sandstorm plays as soon as you enter the attic. Your vision range is 4 inches, Smurfberry says. Oh, you're pushing it for a slap, boy. Hellboy says Smurf is trolling again. Smurf always trolls. Smurf says, no, I definitely legitimately, honestly mean turn the dust up to 11. This dust I don't think we need to make any heavier. I think that's heavy enough. But the other dust in the other windows I think is a bit too subtle. Like I can barely see it around there, and I can barely see it around this candle here. I mean, it is there, but it is really subtle. Yeah, I can see one there. But yeah, it's really, really subtle. So we might pull that up a little bit. Wax King says to Android Lust, I wish I was able to get more projects done this year, but I have learnt a ton, so it's good payoff. Yeah, but look, we will tackle that next week, the dust particles. I'm just going to stop the play in editor and turn off my DLSS. Do I still have a copy of it or not? No, I don't. Great. I actually never remember the command, so I've got to go through, here we are, and find the command to turn it off. Alrighty, let's just get back here and you can see our particles there. We'll do a quick save all, and I want to look at the work you guys posted in the Discord, the Builders 3D Discord. So we're going to start with Digitalis. Digitalis has been working on these guns. Very nice. Yeah, lovely work. I really like this sort of writing on the box as well. It looks really cool. You did the same thing with the stickers last time with the other gun. It looks really cool. Beautiful texture work, Digitalis. Really lovely. Yeah, really nice guns. They look great. The tape on the what is that? Is that like a glass thing around a gun barrel taped on? It looks really cool. Modboy says if players are wearing their mask, the dust shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, I wanted to try and avoid putting too much dust in the room. I didn't want to make it look like, you know, The Last of Us, when you go into one of those spore-filled rooms where it's just completely covered in dust, and because you've got to put your mask on. So yeah, I wanted to try and avoid that look that you got from The Last of Us, where, you know, you're not going into a room that's full of spores because you've got these, you know, creatures that are trying to attack you. None of that. Subtle. Less is more. Wax King says, well, I'm off to play some games, mate. Great to see you, and the attic looks amazing. Thanks, Wax King. It was good to see you too. Thanks for popping in and saying hello. Wax King says to Hellforge, for sure, man. Last stretch is always the hardest for me. Andrew Dust says it's a plastic bottle. Oh, okay. It's a plastic bottle. Right. Andrew Dust says for a one-time suppressor. Oh, okay. Anyway, the texturing work is great, and the modelling is beautiful as well. I love it all. Love it, love it. Looks great. You always do really nice work as well, Digitalis. And this is Grizzly Gear. Let's have a look at Grizzly Gear's character. Nice. Again, I love the design. The design is really interesting, and the pose as well. And the model is lovely, is beautiful as well. She's looking great. One-time suppressor, Digitalis says, yeah, I just wasn't sure. But yeah, beautiful work, Digitalis. I mean, texturing is just amazing. I love it. You've done a really nice job. I particularly like the tape. The tape looks really good. I mean, it all looks good, but there are certain... The tape catches my eye. It's really nicely done. Everything beautiful. Beautiful work. And, of course, Grizzly Gear as well. This is lovely. She's a really interesting character design. And the silhouette is really interesting as well, the pose you put her in. I can't wait to see it finished. It's going to look amazing. Beautiful work as well. Thank you for letting me show your work on the stream, guys. I do appreciate it. Remember, if you have something you want to show on the stream, jump into the Phil Does 3D Discord server and pop it in the gallery. So what we're going to be doing is next week we're going to start working on the sitting room. I may just come back in here at the start of the stream just to play with the dust effects on the other particles, and then we're going to jump into creating the sitting room. That's the plan. And remember, I'm not streaming on Monday next week, but I am on Tuesday. So I won't be streaming on Monday next week, but I'm back on Tuesday as usual. So I'm just missing one day. We will leave it there, though, I think, for today, guys and girls. Again, I do want to thank you for being here and hanging out with me and for watching. I will be back again on Tuesday next week. And we'll start on the sitting room, I think. Yeah. Sitting room shouldn't take too long because most of the assets I've already done. And we can copy the floor from another room. So it shouldn't, famous last words. Actually, I don't have a light fitting. The light fitting's done. We'll do the sitting room next week. Thanks, guys, for being here and watching. You guys have a great weekend. You take care in this human malware world we're living in now. Stay happy, healthy, and safe. And I will see you all on Tuesday next week. See you guys.